Two races, two very distinctly different races in Formula E. Let's have a bit of a talk about rounds 10 and 11 of season 11. Let's talk about the Shanghai ePrix. I think it's best that we tackle these two races as their own separate entities. Race 1, the dry one. What a play by DS Penske. Their first 1-2. And I found this really strange that it was their first 1-2 because I was like, hang on, DS have done it before, but it's because it's Penske. Max Günther lights the flag. John-Eric Vergne, second place from 10th on the grid. It was a great drive. 7 seconds clear of his teammate at the end. Taylor Barnard managing to get a good third place as well. Getting past Dan Ticktum and Oliver Rowland on the last lap. Did he also get past his teammate, Sam Bird and Norman Nato as well? I can't remember right now, actually. But took the fastest lap and took the point that comes with that as well. I mentioned Ticktum. Started 21st, finished 4th. Like I said in my Monaco ePrix review, Ticktum is probably one of the most informed drivers in Formula E right now. And is showing the promise that people expected. In fact, he is now largely speculated to potentially be replacing the outgoing Nick Cassidy because he is going to be leaving Jaguar at the end of this season. I believe it's a year early from the end of his contract, isn't it, as well? In that one as well, it was 5th and 6th for Rowland and Nato. One of Nato's better performances this season as well. He started 15th, climbed all the way up to 6th. Then it was Bird, De Vries, Buemi and Freins that rounded out the top 10. And you do have to feel a bit for the Maseratis, the other Stellantis team here, because they struggled with the pit boost. Van Dorn was running high up early on, and then after pit boost drops way down the order. The same for Jake Hughes. But there were some drivers who you were just surprised with where they were at because you would have expected more. Pascal Wehrlein, who, for example, qualified 3rd, finished 12th. Antonio Felix da Costa, he stopped to the other end of the field, didn't he? Started 17th, finished 13th. But, yeah. Overall, race 1 produced some bits that were familiar and some bits that were a little bit different. Race 2 was complete chaos. Now, because we didn't have the duels, the points weren't given out for the duels in qualifying, which meant that Nick Cassidy, despite leading lights to flag, winning by 7 seconds, and starting, pole position, he didn't get the bonus points. He only got 25 points. But it was a dominant display. He took the lead, from the get-go, he was on pole position even, and didn't look back once he got in the lead at the time the safety car came off at lap 8. So, he went straight into attack mode. Only took 2 minutes at the start, left the other 6 minutes for later on, and just cruised around. I think it's quite telling that Wehrlein and da Costa in 2nd and 3rd were on next to no energy at the end, and Nick Cassidy crossed the line with 10% of his energy left. That is absolutely cruising. When I'm doing my driver ratings, it's a 10 out of 10. Because he was not under any threat for the whole race, and he was able to manage it so well that he still had 10% of his battery left at the end of the race, with 3 extra laps as well. Bearing that in mind, I mean, I was surprised with how much energy the Porsches spent behind the safety car, because when the safety car came in and we had the energy reveal, Cassidy was up towards the 90s and the Porsches were down towards the 80s. Jake Hughes had a good second race, as did John-Eric Vergne, but the team that really struggled was Nissan. Now, part of that was they were a team that were hampered by qualifying, but even then, Rowland climbed up from 17th to 13th. It probably should have been a top 10, but visibility was awful, wasn't it, in that second race? And Nato was doing okay, but I think he took both his attack modes early and then dropped down to 21st at the end of it. There are other drivers who've struggled. Mitch Evans, for example, who I believe used his attack mode pretty early. Nick De Vries was the first one to go through both of his attack modes, wasn't he? Finished 12th, qualified 7th. And you do feel a bit for Zane Maloney. Like, he cleared De Vries. It doesn't have any points to show for it. Taylor Barnard managed to get points. Was it his 21st birthday or the day after? But yeah, managed to get points with a podium in race 1. I don't know. It was a weekend of 2 very, very different races, dry and wet. Not literally night and day, but night and day differences in terms of who was where. The Porsches that were nowhere in race 1, second and third in race 2. The Nissans, who looked like they had the worst race of the season with, 5th and 6th in race 1. Oh boy, race 2 was something completely different for the Edams team. But let's talk about the standings, because there has been some shaking up and some moving around in the standings as well. Now, not too much in the driver standings. Oliver Rowland's lead is down. It's down by 9 points because of Fairline's second place in race 2, but non-score in race 1, whilst Rowland got 5th in race 1 and didn't score in race 2. Likewise with Da Costa, having not scored in race 1 but getting 3rd in race 2. He is still just ahead of Taylor Barnard, but yeah, here we go. 171 for Rowland, 103 for Fairline. 88 for Da Costa, 86 for Barnard. Then behind them, John-Eric Verne's up to 5th on 74 points. Gunter is on 71 points. He, I believe, is moved up to 6th, or is very much consolidated in 6th. Like that non-finish in race 2, that was awful for Gunter. Just what they call the red car. Car was not safe. Just complete power lost, and he was up towards the front. Speaking of up towards the front, Cassidy's win jumps him way up the points order. He was on 33 points before the weekend. He's now up at 58 points. It means he's cleared De Vries and Dennis, who are both on 56. Dan Ticktum, who's moved up to P10 with 55. Stoffel Van Dorn, who's on 50. Buemi on 47 and Mortara on 47. We're outside the top 10 at this point from Hughes, Muller, De Grassi, who's on 30, who's clear of Sam Bird, who did get some points this weekend. Then Mitch Evans, Nato, Frines, Maloney, and Beckman, with Maloney and Beckman being the only ones not to have scored points. And like I said, it's a shame because Maloney did do really well in race 2. Beckman had one of his better performances this season in race 1 as well, but it's not to be. Anyways, in terms of the team, Porsche have taken the lead now. It's 1 point over Nissan, but 1 point is all it needs to be, right? They got 34 points in race 2, whereas Nissan got 18 in race 1. And this is where Nato has been a bit of an issue for Nissan, because, well, Rowland is comfortably in the lead of the driver standings, and the Porsches are second and third. That said, Rowland has scored 171 points this season. Like I said, 103 at 88 for the two Porsches. 171 points. Nato scored 19 points this season. And 19 points is enough for 19th in the standings. Now, Formula E is competitive, yes, and that is going to have played a factor. But this is what might cost Nissan the team's championship at the end of the day. Porsche have had real hit and miss weekends. They've had real hit and miss races. They've had weekends where one's been a hit and one's been a bad miss, to paraphrase an old British comedy show. But yeah, I find it really strange. It's almost like the second Red Bull driver conundrum, right? Because Fenestrat's had a similar thing last season in that Nissan. But yeah, they just need to figure out what's going on in the other side of the garage that means that Nato isn't realising the same potential that Rowland is. I get that Rowland is probably the best driver in Formula E right now, and I would say has been for the best part of a year at this point. But something's not adding up. Anyways, after Nissan, and apologies for that tangent, Penske are 45 points behind Nissan. McLaren are another 32 behind Penske, that's 145 and 113. And then on 103 points, 10 points behind McLaren are Mahindra, who have now had, I think, as many point scores as a team as the Mahindra powertrain got last year in the in the manufacturer standings, yes. So the team standings, they've got as many team scores as they had manufacturer scores last year, which is almightily impressive. It tells you the way in which the order can fluctuate in Formula E, but it also tells you the story of their recovery this season. There's Maserati on 89, Andretti on 88, and again, it tells you how much the grid can change year on year, especially with the fact that Jaguar are in 8th place on 83. Yes, they're 6 points off of 6th, but at the same time, 8th place in the standings for the reigning champions. It's unbelievable, really. Envision on 62, Cooper Kiro on 55, and Lola Yamaha on 30 round out the standings. I tell you what, if F1 had all 10 teams scoring 55 points or more, that's the top 10 points in Formula E, or 30 points or more by round 10, that would be incredibly impressive, wouldn't it? Rounding it off for the manufacturer standings, Nissan are on 285, Porsche on 259, Stellantis 213, Jaguar 184, Mahindra 129, and Lola on 41 points. And yeah, it's quite telling there, isn't it? The issues that Nissan are having, because Nissan also have McLaren as their powertrains, so that means that if Nissan themselves don't win, if a McLaren, for example, wins, they win out as well. So as a result, this, I would say, is quite telling of how Nissan have got a solid powertrain and 2 solid teams running that powertrain. They just need to iron out those issues that they're having as a team to be able to realise their full potential with the platform. Anyways, those are my thoughts, those are my feelings. It's quite a long video, especially for a Formula E review. I hope that you enjoyed listening to, at some points, just utter ramblings. And yeah, I hope to see you around soon for more. Until then, bye-bye for now.